For many women, the pelvic floor remains a physiological blind spot. Cultural taboos and sedentary modern lifestyles often mean we are never taught how to locate or engage the very center of our own bodies. When this muscular network remains inactive, the symptoms are concrete: leaking during a cough or jump, pain during intercourse, or a persistent lack of sensation. There is a tendency to dismiss these structural warnings as the inevitable side effects of aging or the natural toll of childbirth. Resigning to these symptoms does more than just lower quality of life. It prevents the body from accessing its natural structural stability and its capacity for a deep physical response. Reclaiming that health starts with the trinity of muscular systems. Every movement in the body is governed by either cardiac, smooth, or skeletal muscle. A common misconception is that the vaginal canal is a skeletal muscle, consciously flexed like a bicep. This cross-section illustrates why that's impossible. The vaginal walls are primarily smooth muscle. This involuntary tissue doesn't respond to direct thought, but rather to your internal chemical environment. To address leaks or improve sensation, we cannot simply will the involuntary canal to move. We must instead focus on the skeletal architectural foundation that supports it. This foundation begins with the bony cradle of the pelvis, the sacrum in the back, the ilium at the sides, and the pubic bone in the front, which houses the uterus, bladder, and rectum. These organs are held in place by ligaments. You can visualize the uterus as a buoy in water, with these ligaments acting as the anchors that keep it from drifting. Ligaments provide passive stability, but they aren't designed to carry a heavy load indefinitely. Without help, they begin to strain under the constant weight of the internal organs. When these anchors are the only thing holding the organs up, they eventually stretch. This makes an active, muscular support system a biological necessity. The skeletal muscles of the pelvic floor provide that active support. They act as the water level beneath the organs, pushing upward to take the weight off those straining ligaments. If these muscles weaken through disuse, the hammock sags, the supportive water level drops, and the internal organs physically sink lower into the pelvic cavity. This drop forces the passive ligaments to take the full weight, causing them to stretch permanently. The result is structural failure, such as uterine or vaginal prolapse. Preventing this permanent damage requires conscious training to rebuild the muscular scaffolding that holds these organs in their proper alignment. This training isolates two distinct layers. The deep layer is the levator ani, the powerhouse responsible for physically hoisting the weight of the organs upward. Closer to the surface is the bulbospongiosus. This muscle provides the grip felt during intimacy and supports the urethra to prevent stress incontinence. For these muscles to be functional, they must follow the golden rule. They must be capable of a strong contraction and complete conscious relaxation. If the muscles are always on, they become hypertonic, leading to painful spasms. If they are never engaged, they atrophy, leading to the numbness and leaking associated with hypotonicity. Structural health is found in the range between these two states, the ability to move fluidly from a deep squeeze to a total release. While we cannot flex the involuntary smooth muscle of the vaginal canal directly, we can use the skeletal muscles at the entrance to influence the entire system. Pairing a deep diaphragmatic breath with an upward skeletal contraction creates an internal vacuum effect, pulling the pelvic floor upward. Mastering this requires 4 milestones: identifying the muscles, isolating deep layers from the surface, toning the tissue, coordinating the movement with the breath. This vacuum acts as a mechanical pump, pulling fresh, oxygenated blood into the involuntary tissues. This surge in circulation nourishes the mucous membranes, supporting the local pH balance and the healthy bacteria that define a resilient internal environment. This approach integrates the deep and superficial skeletal layers into a single, responsive unit that supports the body's internal architecture. As microcirculation increases and muscle tone returns, the nervous system begins to register signals from nerve endings that were previously dormant or numb. Coordinating the voluntary skeletal muscles with the involuntary smooth muscle system clears the neurological pathways necessary for lifelong structural health and a deep systemic physical response. The structural alignment and safety of those organs rely entirely on the precise rhythm of this breath cycle. Watch this structural error: descending pressure. If a woman inhales but tenses to hold her stomach in, the side boundary locks rigidly. Blocking outward expansion traps the diaphragm's immense downward force. It has nowhere to go but straight down onto the pelvic floor. Over time, this constant descending pressure crushes already weakened muscles. The internal tissues stretch out, eventually causing the reproductive and digestive organs to succumb to gravity, resulting in prolapse. Contrast that destructive force with ascending pressure, an optimal biological state. During a slow, focused exhalation, the lungs empty. The lower abdomen naturally hollows inward, and the diaphragm pulls sharply upward. This ascending movement lifts the organs, completely unloading weight off the pelvic floor. This weightless ascending phase is the exact exclusive moment the pelvic floor muscles should be contracted. This ensures they are built up rather than stretched out. There is a third state to be cautious of: static pressure. This occurs if you squeeze the pelvic floor strongly upward while actively inhaling downward. If untrained, this dual-sided compression forces the bladder neck open, causing immediate leaking. Mastering how to manipulate this intra-abdominal pressure is the deciding factor. It dictates whether your conditioning exercises will heal your pelvis or actively destroy it. Translating these biological mechanics into physical mastery requires 3 concrete steps. The first foundational rule is to de-link the abdomen from the pelvis. A primary milestone in your training is learning how to isolate, squeeze, and lift the pelvic floor muscles, while keeping your external abdominal wall entirely soft and relaxed. The second rule is to exhale for power. You must strictly couple any active upward pelvic contraction with a slow, controlled exhalation to properly harness that ascending pressure. Conversely, as you inhale, you must allow the pelvic floor to fully lengthen and relax. You are separating the physical tension from the intake of air. The final rule is to protect the lower lock. Symptoms like leaking during a sneeze or a workout are immediate warning signs that your pelvic floor cannot withstand sudden pressure changes. When this happens, stop any advanced techniques until baseline strength is restored. Synchronizing the rhythm of your breath with your pelvic anatomy stops the mechanical cycle that leads to organ prolapse and clears chronic congestion.
The electronic version of all chapters from the full book, She Who Awakens by Alina Chamberlain, can be found at wishforlove.org.